Okay, something that became pretty obvious to me after shooting last video is that I'm still taking myself pretty serious. In a sense that yeah, when I shoot these videos, it just comes with a lot of expectations, a lot of subconscious expectations, I would say, and I guess after watching the last video, they became more and more obvious to me. Um, I noticed them in the form of um, just wanting to make sure that I'm gonna like deliver a lot of value to you. Just want to make sure that I have clear points and I get them across really clearly, and so that you have some lessons to take away from it that you can experiment with yourself. But yeah, I think I just have to acknowledge that I'm just not at that point yet, and that I'm just way more in just yeah, and just getting more comfortable just talking. Because even today, when I before I hit the play button, I was hesitant, and I was like, okay, so what am I gonna try to talk about this time? So it's just really interesting to see how then all of a sudden I got taken over by wanting to have this amazing plan and just these steps. It's just really interesting, I think, to see for me that it just tends to bring up a lot of old patterns, and it just tends to trigger a lot of things, like yeah, like a lot of like insecurities and a lot of and a lot of which those a lot of those insecurities then actually trigger a lot of thinking. It's like my brain is trying to prevent me from exposing those insecurities, and just want to make sure that I come across as having it all, having it all, yeah, that I got myself together, and getting across as though I know what I'm doing. And yeah, so something that I learned by going through anxiety is that the only way is through. So there's no way that I'm gonna come up with a plan to hide all these insecurities and then get better at this. It's just gonna seem super artificial. The only way for me to get on camera then would be to come up with a perfect script, and then do a lot of editing and I mean afterwards, to make sure that it doesn't come across as though I'm working from this script. And I mean, I don't even want to know how long it would take me to make that kind of videos. Um, and I mean, honestly, the other thing is that it would just take away all the fun from from what I'm doing. And I mean, these things currently, they feel very uncomfortable, but I feel enticed, or I feel inspired, or I feel like tempted to try and experiment with it. And it's the experimentation that I enjoy. It's not making the perfect video, because as soon as I try to do that, all the fun just disappears, and all the spontaneity and all the enthusiasm is just gone. So it's really interesting to see that what I'm currently enjoying from making this video is the fact that I make it, the fact that I go from always, I think, trying to like hide all these things and just making, or trying to pretend that, yeah, how should I put it, that I have all everything perfectly figured out, and like exposing that, and just the idea that I'm sharing that with you is what I enjoy at this point. But as soon as I start adding more expectations on top of that, that's when everything it just starts feeling like a to do, and or I mean, it starts feeling like something that I'm adding to my to-do list, and then it's just like it becomes like doing errands, and it's not fun at all. Um, so it's funny how when I talk about like old patterns bubbling up, is that something that at the surface level seems like a noble thing, or something that, or how should I put it? Maybe not necessarily like a noble, but like a very good thing to have, is like I feel like I want to deliver value to you, and I would like really enjoy delivering value to you. But it's when I start switching around or like prioritizing delivering value over doing something that feels good, it's when I start adding a level of complexity that I don't really believe in is actually adding a lot of value. Um, and so instead of trying to really like analyze and make sure that what I do is going to be of tremendous value, which it can only be, and it's, I mean, my point being, it can only be, it's only my perception of that value that I'm then bringing across it, which doesn't mean that it's actually going to be of value to you. But I think what I'm trying to say is that it's not in like reverse engineering this content that it's gonna be something that I really enjoy. So the only thing I can do, I think, is really to make this something sustainable is just do what I consider something do something that I consider to be fun or something I enjoy, something that feels good sharing about, and then just trust that somehow if someone is gonna get value from it, they're just gonna get value from it. It's not something that I really have to. I don't want to like. Don't get me wrong. If I feel value, if I see value in something, no. Let's just skip this part. My point being, I think I just want to allow myself to really lower that bar and just practice having no expectations at all about what a video is supposed to look like, and just fully embrace and trust that process, that at some point it may just not be me rambling, and it's gonna turn into something where I feel much more comfortable coming up with, okay, so these are the things, this is a topic I'm gonna talk about, and this is what I want to get across, and then it's just gonna be like a more natural progression of this process, and however long it may take, I can't really tell. I mean, I'm just at the point where I'm just still super self-conscious on a camera, so I cannot expect myself to really, it feels really forced to expect myself to come up with a plan and to be enthusiastic and to be like, I mean, if you look at all these things on YouTube and you see these people that they just make it seem so easy, and so simple to make these really beautiful, like these really, like they're really good at setting the vibe, and they have this intro, and they pull you in, and it's just really really cool to follow along, but that's just not at all where I'm at. So I don't want to I don't want to skip steps. I mean, there's no reason, I don't see why, if this is something I continue to enjoy, which is something I will have to experience, I don't see why it can't evolve into something like that, but I can't expect myself to jump and skip all the steps that are that they've probably had to go through in some form or another to get to that point. So, and I honestly don't see why I would do that. It's like from two perspectives. One, well, first perspective, this is what I enjoy now. I wouldn't necessarily enjoy making more complex videos. And two, I can start making more complex videos, but it doesn't mean that I don't get to learn the things that are really my lessons at this point. My lessons are way more easing into being myself on camera, not taking myself so serious, allowing myself to make stuff that sucks. Just become more comfortable actually looking at the lens and not like having to think about like smiling and looking directly into the lens and all those kinds of things. So my point being, I can skip ahead and make something, make pretend I've learned all the lessons that I've had to learn to get there, but that doesn't mean I learned all those lessons. So my point being, doing what I enjoy at this point also allows me to actually embrace and soak up all those lessons. And then when I get there, it's gonna feel much more natural to actually make those way more complex videos. So my point being, it's the best thing I can do in the long run, and it's the most fun thing in the short term. I think that would be a good way to summarize that. So moving forward, my videos are going to be way more probably talking about the discomfort and just much more talking about the process of getting more comfortable on camera. If that's something you're interested in, you can definitely stay along for that journey. And I'm also gonna make sure that as soon as they start to transition into more informational and more lessons learned and more how to do certain things or giving insight in how I do things, I'll definitely make sure to let you know as well, so you can, if that's something you're interested in, you can then hop on this train and follow along from that point onwards. But I'm just not gonna get anywhere if I continue to have these crazy high expectations. Yeah, I'm just stifling my own progress if I do. So yeah, I don't wanna do that. So yeah, let's see how this evolves, and stay tuned for more if you're interested in to see more things like this. So I made this last video, or these last two videos, without having any expectations of myself, not even expecting myself, like I said, to look into the camera, which is something that I somehow, when I expect myself to do that, just brings up a lot of pressure. And it's like yeah, it's funny how something stupid like that is just like choking all the fun out of making these kinds of videos. So I think I just wanted to share that actually seems to work. Like having no expectations is like, it makes it much more enjoyable. It makes it much more fun for me to make, and I can tell that I'm already much more at ease. And yeah, it just reminds me of how a lot of these transformations actually can happen really fast if you allow them to. Like as soon as I actually at a deep level, as soon as I get to the point where I actually feel that I allow myself to make bad things, to make some things that suck, it it already turns into something much more enjoyable. So um, and yeah, so that's just a fun thing to see, and I just wanted to share that as well. And I'm just really curious to see where it's going. I don't want to really like put a lot of time into like evaluating the content I'm making and just analyzing to see if I'm making a lot of progress and all that, because it's in moments like this that I know that progress is inevitable. It's just like yeah, it's in these really small things. The fact that I'm even considering making these videos is like huge progress. There is a big step forward compared to where I was at only like a couple months ago. So yeah, and I would just be curious to see what these kind of videos look like at the end of the year. And so my point being, once again, I don't expect these to be the most life changing videos ever. There is some value to it, but I just want to like share them with you, put them out there, that you at least get to see what it looks like to become better at these kinds of things. And yeah, it's so I think that's the value that I have to offer right now, and it's the value that I think I can definitely bring. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something more at this point. There's definitely more things that I want to talk about. There's more things that I've learned that I'm even way more excited about. But I don't expect myself to get those across like right away. I'm sure when the time's there, I'm gonna start talking about those things. And it's really funny that as soon as I stop expecting myself to talk about those things right away, it's almost like it opens the gates, and like it's like the inspiration starts flooding, and the enthusiasm starts flooding, and I just want to start talk about it. So it's really interesting to see how all of these things can change really quickly. But I just wanna, yeah, just let's see how it goes. Let's see how it evolves, and then yeah, let's go from there. Yeah.